Taurus. This is your week ahead tarot card reading by Born Without Boundaries Tarot. It's a message for Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign energy. It's an energy reading, so if you're not a Taurus and you're like, why is this even coming up in my feed? Because there's something in this message that you need to hear. And it's that simple. And it comes to you at just the right time. And this is where your message begins. Take a leap of faith. This isn't throwing caution to the wind, Taurus. Faith is the least risky path you could take. Because in some ways, when this card comes up, you've already been talking to yourself. Maybe not out loud and answering yourself, but I'm saying you already know that what you have to do and what's right and the direction, right? You already know it. On some level, it's already clear to you. And the leap of faith part is that maybe you can't find ways to make it make sense. But when it's about faith, it never has to make sense because it already does. And it's the conversation between you and God. It's not a conversation between you and Excel spreadsheets, or you and the board of directories, or you and your family, or you and your best friends, or you and whatever. It's just not. It's a conversation between you and God, and you've been having it in your heart for a while. So when you decide to take this leap of faith, it's actually something that's well thought out. And I say thought in quotations because I don't mean actual intellectual or pragmatic thought. I mean the thought that goes on in the courage that brews in your heart. So there's just this energy of, I already know which direction I have to go, right? And I want you to give yourself that grace. I want you to give yourself the freedom to allow yourself to do what you're called to do, what you already know is the right thing to do and what you already know has to be done. I want you to give yourself that grace because you're right. You're right. And I can guarantee you will take the absolute wrong turn if you don't. But it was almost like a waste of time for me to say that because you already know. You already know and you're already going to do it. And you're already there. And so trust yourself. That's what you're being asked to do. So let's get further into this rather lovely beginning. Taurus, remember that as I divide the deck, there are going to be cards that fall out. I'm going to leave them where they lie. That's a part of the reading. If you need a personal reading, I provide those. You only can go to my website, though. That's the only place you can book with me. www.bornwithoutboundariestarot.com. Book and schedule there. There's a few different services that I offer. Choose the one that's right for you. And you know what? I'll get back to you within 24 hours. You'll have your message because I know you guys need a quick turnaround. Ooh. If you're just finding this channel, thank you so much. Welcome. My name is Michelle. This is Born Without Boundaries Tarot. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, help the channel grow, and remember that this is the only place I do free public tarot card readings. So if you like that kind of thing, remember to subscribe and ring that notification bell and select all notifications. That's the only time that you get notified of when I go live. So I'm going to cleanse the energy with sound. It cleanses it for you and for me. We both hear the same tone. But if you're sensitive to loud noises, then you might want to turn down your volume just for the next few seconds. Taurus. It comes in twos, my friends, 2 by 2. Let's see what we're talking about, huh? I don't know why I'm drawn to this deck. I always love this deck. Ooh, maybe you're dealing with a fire sign, a King of Swords, the High Priestess, but you're in her inner sanctum. The mysteries are you're open to when it comes to hard work. See, that's faith. That's putting time and hard work in, because on some level you already know it's going to go somewhere. And you know that it's not about where you're at or needing proof. You already know, like you have, like, it's almost like God is trying to say to you, you have the inner workings. You have the inner knowledge and the inner understanding. You're already there. And so you're right. With whatever you're working on, keep working on it, because you are creating into the right direction. We have something here with a King of Wands. This is a very charismatic, this is almost like mastery of your craft. So it could represent you mastering your craft, some sort of artistry, getting to the level where you are known and respected for your artistry and for what you're capable of. Or simply this. You're dealing with a King of Wands that is Sagittarius, Aries, and Leo, fire sign energy. Somebody that's very sure of themselves. At the very least, this is somebody that you can learn a lot from. At the very most, this is somebody who is extraordinarily impressed with you and is going to open up a great deal of opportunities for you. Could this be a love interest? Of course it could. But I think you know. Either somebody has invested in you because they see the value in you through your work ethic. It's not random. This is like they have observed something tangible that has sort of won this level of loyalty from a devotee or somebody or even a group maybe. Well, let's see what these cards reveal. This and that are true, and surrender now. Surrender to the not knowing. Surrender to seeing things from both sides. Surrender to the odd. Surrender to the unusual. Surrender to the things not necessarily making sense or adding up. Surrender to the space in between, which is almost like you just got to let go and not expect. And this is that creative process. It's allowing yourself to be part of the creative process and not knowing what the next step is, and in some ways being transitional. Why? Because it's God's guidance. Because it's leaving space for the divine to participate in the making of whatever you're creating in your life. And this is like giving over. It's like giving over to both sides, giving over to seeing both perspectives. And then we have watch your words and be at home. You don't have to prove yourself at all. Don't say anything. Don't talk. It's almost like in some ways, especially maybe you're going home, you're going to be around in a more traditional situation. This is a sense of, people are going to understand you anyway. So you don't have to say anything. Don't prove it. You don't have to prove anything. There's something here that, may be happening this week. This is a Taurus full moon that's coming up November 15th, 2024. If you're seeing this after its release, just know that that's the date that I'm talking about. Check your calendar, see what was going on in your life at that point. Watch your words and be at home. This sense of knowing you can't bring everything up in front of people who have an idea. This is usually family. People who have an idea of who you are or what you should be. It's almost like, why argue? Right? Like, you don't need to argue. You don't need their approval. Maybe you don't want to say, this isn't shame. It's just a level of, I'm happiest not saying anything. That's interesting. I don't love that energy. Maybe somebody's holding your tongue to make you comfortable. This is the energy of somebody holding their tongue to make you comfortable. And yet it implies that somebody isn't comfortable. They don't have to be. Knight of Swords says there's going to be communications. Maybe you haven't spoken to somebody for a while, or they haven't spoken to you. This is telling you that this week, that conversation is going to happen. And honestly, it's going to work out better than you expected. There's some sort of notification coming back to say, we appreciate you. You did a good job. It's like smile more, say less, that kind of energy. But finally, there is that sense of communication coming through, or letting somebody know, I'm impressed with you. I'm impressed with how far you've come. I'm impressed with what you've done here. So it's like you don't have to say a thing. There's a message coming into you. Let's get a moon card. Okay, can we understand a little bit more about this message? Some sort of clarity. We have believe in the impossible. I don't think that you would believe the person that's reaching out to you, because you haven't talked to somebody in a while, and you almost got comfortable with that. So it's like, this is around the full moon, that something is going to, the impossible will happen. And this full moon, the reason why it's so special is because it is actually within 2 degrees conjunction of Uranus. And when the moon and Uranus conjunct, there's always some surprises that end up popping out or popping up. Maybe a change in emotion or feeling, surprise emotions that end up popping up, or just not wanting to be predictable. Because it also means that the sun is in opposition to Uranus, which means not wanting to be pegged into the predictable, right? It's almost like I want to define my own sense of self. I want to define my own independence. And maybe you never thought you'd do this. You never thought you'd do something like this. You're about to surprise people. Take time to breathe out. It's almost like a reassurance that card came out. This mentality of, once you get this out and you finally make this statement out loud, it's going to feel so much better. There's been a lot of build up here, especially with feeling like you couldn't be heard, or you wouldn't be heard, or people wouldn't understand. And I'm here to tell you that is actually, it doesn't matter if that's the case, because you're going to be so much happier after you just let it out and express yourself. And you're just there's going to be such a release. But I do think that this is going to go a lot better than you think it's going to go. There's good news coming in. But I want to clarify Parrot. I want to clarify Parrot energy. Okay. Oh, it's healing. Some sort of healing with words that you haven't heard. That's the Divine Trilogy 3. It's like finally you're blessed with the ability to heal from things that maybe you hadn't heard from a family member in a while. You hadn't talked, or you hadn't felt like you could talk to them. But there is healing being offered in this situation. And there's just loyalty that comes out that's beyond singularity and loyalty. That's beautiful energy. It's almost like somebody's willing to put how they feel about you above their own pride or their own sense of prejudice. And there's just that sense of, like, I can love who I want to love. I can be who I want to be and still be accepted for everything that I am. And the conversation that you didn't want to have ends up being a conversation that heals the entire situation. Oh my God, that's beautiful. We have flexible. Things are shifting, but they're bending in ways you never thought possible. And look, never ending story is here in reverse. 37, 3 plus 37. 3 plus 7 adds up to 10. You finished the cycle. It was in reverse. It's not, it's finished. That never-ending repetition, it's ended. That's really good news. And then we have here and now. Somebody's willing to be flexible and time to go. So this week is when you can finally move on from a situation that you thought you'd be stuck with, from a situation that you thought would never move forward. People are going to be a hell of a lot more flexible, or you're going to be a hell of a lot more flexible than you ever thought you possibly can be. This is a beautiful sense of not needing to choose what you were. This is the this and that and truth. Here and now. Here and now. It's not the past. It's not the future. This is that beautiful medium between two sides. It's the present moment. And that's when you get to go. When you get to leave, when you get to move forward. And this is the time when you actually do. Let's understand this then. Let's understand this, God. What is happening? Please put it into words for Taurus. Something that have to do with a devouring mother, a manipulative mother figure, somebody who maybe wasn't there or who drained you or was very controlling, or just a sense of lacking, a sense of neediness, a sense of greediness. Okay, so what else does it have to do with? Maybe, okay. The Queen of Wands, somebody who is very confident, somebody who likes to have a lot of attention, somebody who is very progressive and owns her own space and rules their own life. This could be a very selfish energy. Somebody who is doing things against their parents' wishes and then just going after what they want, come hell or high water. But intuitively, yeah, that's what you have to do. Because in some ways, it's almost like maybe somebody always wanted this in their life. Maybe somebody had always aspired for this to happen. And ultimately, now you realize it and now you get it. And that's why you can move on from it. This sense of, I don't have any obligation to live somebody else's dream, or I don't have any obligation to justify my dreams or justify my direction by other people's expectations. You knew on some level that this would work out, or that you would stick to it and make it work out. And I think that that's why it's working out. Can you please clarify the Empress in reverse? It has to do with some, I think it's a parent energy, because, somebody's at a crossroads here. Somebody's at a crossroads and finally made a decision to move on and move forward. Or this is once again the two. It's almost like you decided to move, somebody's decided to move forward undecided. Or somebody's decided to move forward in both directions somehow at once. This understanding of moving forward, especially with a partnership or romantic relationship, certainly is going to move forward. And when nobody expected that it would, but it is, and it's going to sort of put itself out there and maybe even in some ways be official or be made official. Let's go to the extended to continue and see where this goes. Taurus, the link is down below, and I've also pinned it to the top of the comment section. I will see you then.